Greetings, everyone. Well, today we actually have a combined Blu-ray and DVD update. Yes, the Blu-ray includes the DVD version, but that's not what I'm talking about. There's a Blu-ray, but there's also a DVD set that kind of ties into it. Once again, we'll be hitting the stuff based on comic books shelves, but this time it's neither Marvel nor DC. No, this particular movie and subsequent TV series was based on an independent comic, favorite of the Gothic community everywhere, members of the Gothic community, myself included. And great stuff. So let's not waste any time. Let's head over to, well, the Blu-ray and DVD shelves and see what we'll be talking about today. Alrighty, so what could I possibly be talking about this time? Well, it's not Invader Zim, because we already talked about Invader Zim in other videos. It's not the Sandman movie, because that doesn't exist yet, and probably never will, because it's been in development hell forever. So what else would be a big, popular thing with denizens of the Gothic community? Well, what else could it be? It's gotta be this one, right? Of course, it's The Crow on Blu-ray. Yeah, this is really worth getting if you're a fan of the movie. Transfer is gorgeous. Get the slipcover if you can, it's very sexy. And but this is not all I got, because the day I bought this, I thought, hey, I could go over some more Crow action. Let's see what else we got. And then, of course, that led me to... where is it? Over on the stuff based on comic books DVD shelf. We, of course, have... Okay, slide Mr. Hitchcock out of the way. Ta-da! The Crow, Stairway to Heaven, complete series on DVD. That's right, the TV series, The Crow, Stairway to Heaven, starring Mark Dacascos in the role of Eric Draven. Now you may notice the cover, they used a cover from the movie, or a poster from the movie, or a picture from the movie, rather than a picture from the show. Kind of odd. Anyway, whatever. I've actually heard pretty good things about this TV series, so I was eager to check it out. And, well, at the time of this intro, I haven't watched any, but perhaps by the time I get to the meat of this update, I'll watch a couple episodes and tell you what I think. That's the beauty of filming things out of sequence, is you can do stuff in between. It's just like a split second for you, but it could be days for me. Awesome. The magic of movie making. Anyway, The Crow on Blu-ray and The Crow, Stairway to Heaven complete series set on DVD. That's what we're going to talk about today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. The Crow. I must apologize. I was going to pull out my Crow City of Angels Laserdisc to show as part of the, the Crow collection stuff. But, well, it seems I don't actually have it anymore. I could have sworn I did. I was positive it was one of the ones I kept because it had some music videos on it and stuff that I was sure had not been re-released. But I guess they were re-released, or I thought they were, and anyway, long and short of it is I don't have it anymore, so terribly sorry about that. But that's okay. It's not like we don't have enough Crow stuff to talk about anyway. So The Crow City of Angels was actually the first movie of The Crow that I ever saw. It wasn't until a few years later that I actually saw the first one. And I actually enjoyed the second one. I know a lot of people don't care for it, but I thought it was okay. I mean, it is definitely a bit of a rehash of the first one, but, and the first one is vastly superior. I mean, of all the Crow movies, nothing, there has yet to be anything that surpasses the first for just sheer awesomeness and beautiful cinematography and everything. It's a very visual film, which is great because it has definitely translated well over to Blu-ray, and I'm sure I'm not alone in saying that this is a film that you know, is one that we've been looking forward to for quite a while. Well, it's here. What are you waiting for? Go get it. It's awesome. Yeah, the picture quality is fantastic in this, as we had all hoped, and it looks great. I mean, the beautiful sweeping overhead shots of the city, and all the nighttime, lots of deep, rich blacks and shadows and darkness and flames and blood and just awesomeness. Yeah, so it looks really good. Sounded pretty good too from what I could hear. I don't have a surround sound set up, unfortunately. I just listen through headphones, which is why I don't talk about the audio very much. But yeah, so let's I guess just take a quick look at the packaging here, just while we're checking it out. Apparently not everywhere got this slipcover. I don't know why. I don't know if it was a Canadian exclusive or just to certain stores, but it's quite a nice slipcover. I like it a lot. The only complaint I have is I bought this at Walmart. I don't know if you can see. Probably won't show up really on camera, but it has sort of a strange kind of matte finish. I've never really felt a matte finish like this before. It's got this almost, I don't want to say chalky, but it's got this kind of soft texture to it, which is, it's very nice, but the stickiness from the price sticker refuses to come off. I've tried every trick I have. I'm gonna have to just get some Goo Gone and try to use that, I guess, to get rid of it, because it's glued right on there, and it was starting to actually damage the slipcover when I was trying to remove it with my normal masking tape method. Anyway, so let's slide this sucker out here and we'll take a look. So inside, basically the exact same cover, just, you know, normal keep case. So don't fret if you don't have the slipcover. You're not missing out on any alternate artwork or anything. However, one thing the slipcover does have, which I don't know if it's going to pick up really well, but there is very slight, well, the logo is glossy, the artwork is matte, but there's actually rain drops, like streaks of rain. I don't know how well you can see. I'm trying to see on the monitor there. Streaks of rain. Anyway, the streaks of rain are done in glossy. So you have like these very faint glossy streaks of rain on this otherwise matte finish. Well, and you can see the water there on the bottom is also glossy. So any water in the image is glossy. So very cool. Anyway, enough about the slipcover. Alright, so here is the disc. This is a standard Blu-ray DVD combo disc. There you go. And that's that. Ta-da! And I noticed the DVD says disc 1, so I'm thinking that the DVD is actually just disc 1 from the old 2-disc DVD release. So if you have that release, you have disc 1 here. You may want to hang on to disc 2. I don't know off the top of my head if there's additional extras on disc 2 of that edition that are not on here. Let's go over the extras, shall we? First off, we have audio commentary with director Alex Proyas, a behind-the-scenes featurette, a profile on James O'Barr, extended scenes, deleted footage montage, original poster concepts, and storyboards. So, not a bad selection of extras on there. So one of the extras in particular that I thought was really interesting is the profile on James O'Barr. It's not just a profile on him, it's actually an extended interview with him. Runs about half an hour, 40 minutes, thereabouts. Quite lengthy, quite in-depth, and he's very frank and candid and honest about his inspiration for the original Crow story. He gets into some very personal stories about you know, his wife and how she died tragically, and how the original creation of the Crow comics was basically his artistic catharsis to deal with that pain, just pouring his pain onto the comic book page in the form of the story and the artwork. And how originally the Crow story was never meant to be published. It was just a personal work that he was doing for himself to deal with his pain of, you know, his loss. But eventually, you know, obviously we know how the story ended. It was eventually published and became a huge success. And, you know, James O'Barr has enjoyed quite a lot of success as a result of it. So anyway, yeah, if you're at all interested in the original creation of The Crow and sort of the backstory, the creative backstory, and personal backstory of it, that featurette alone is definitely worth checking out. The rest is pretty standard extras fare. I think the making of featurette is actually a vintage featurette, if I remember correctly, from the period, and stuff like that. There's no music videos or anything on here, so pretty cool stuff. The making of featurette does also contain on-set interview footage with Brandon Lee. I guess some of his last ever interview footage. I remember the City of Angels Laserdisc I had actually did have Brandon Lee's last ever interview, and it was quite interesting. Especially, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the footage from that interview is in that making of featurette. If I remember correctly, it looked pretty familiar. And I gotta say, I mean, it's really eerie watching it because he's talking about life and death and how, life can change in an instant and you can die unexpectedly and things like that. And it's almost prophetic in a very eerie kind of way watching it. Such a tragedy about him, it really is. So, okay. You're probably wondering what I think of the TV series. Well, since doing the intro, I did as promised, and I watched a few episodes of the TV series. I watched the first 6 so far. There's 22 episodes total. This is not a Canadian exclusive series, or release rather. This is actually the Canadian cover, which you probably notice is actually the same picture, just slightly different. But it is actually Brandon Lee on the cover, although it is, of course, not him in the series. In the series, Eric Draven is actually played by Mark Dacascos. Now, I should mention, for the 2 or 3 of you who aren't actually familiar with the Crow's story, allow me to explain briefly. Essentially, what it is it's a modern mythology revenge tale kind of thing, where Eric Draven and his girlfriend Shelley are, madly, passionately in love, just wonderful, perfect couple, one true, deep love. And they're both tragically killed one night by some just rampaging criminals in the city. And Eric is actually brought back to life to right the wrong that has been done to them. The whole idea is there's this legend that when someone is killed in an unjust way, a crow carries their spirit to the afterworld. But sometimes the crow can bring the spirit back to right the wrong that was done. And that's basically the premise. So in the case of the movie, it's basically just Eric Draven being brought back to deal with the jerks who killed him and his girlfriend, and then he goes off on his merry way to join his girlfriend in the afterlife. In the TV series, it essentially retells that story in the first 2 episodes in obviously highly modified form because A, it's for television, so it's nowhere near as violent as the movie, and B, they obviously have to leave it open-ended because it's a series, it's not just a standalone, TV movie or whatever. So in the case of the series, they add a little bit extra to it, where it's not just that he's brought back to right the wrongs that were done, but there was an imbalance in the good and bad in his life. And in order to restore that balance and be able to move on, he has to not only right the wrongs that was done to him and his girlfriend, but also to help others. And then Shelley actually helps from the afterlife as well. Now, the reaction to the series is very mixed. I mean, a lot of Crow fans that I know of basically just love the first one and hate all the others that followed. I know a lot of people who like the first one and the third one, but hate the second one and the fourth one, like the movies. I know some people that like the first and second one and the TV series. Other people hate the TV series. So, I mean, the fan base is completely divided, and I expect that the comments on this video will probably reflect that. So, everybody be nice, okay? The Crow is cool. We all like parts of it. And some of you may not like any of it. So, there you go. As is, your want, whatever. So what did I think of the series? Well, from what I've seen of it, I've actually been enjoying it. I think Mark Dacascos, who is a name you may find familiar, he's actually the chairman on Iron Chef these days. Yeah, well, prior to being the chairman on Iron Chef, he played Eric Draven in the TV series of The Crow, Stairway to Heaven. and it's pretty cool. One thing I should mention also about this TV series is it used a lot of licensed music in the soundtrack, much like the movie did. And it appears that all of the licensed music is intact in this DVD release, which is pretty cool. They actually tell you at the end of every episode which songs in the soundtrack were licensed. So if you liked the music, you can check out the albums of that particular band. And I definitely recognize a lot of the music in it from mid to late 90s and stuff like that. I mean, they had Rob Zombie in one of them. It was awesome. But anyway, yeah, I've been enjoying the series. I mean, it is kind of hit and miss as far as each episode goes. I mean, some of the stories are a little bit cheesy, I think. I mean, but I mean that's understandable. I mean, I think it's just, as with a lot of series based on movies or just whatever, it sometimes takes a few episodes to kind of find its footing and for the writers to sort of figure out what they want to do with it and where they want to go with it. At this point in the series that I've seen, I've only seen the first 6 episodes. It doesn't seem to be that much of an overarching story arc. It more just seems to be standalone stories, other than like the first 3, which are kind of connected together. But it does seem to be more or less standalone stories. I'm sure there is an overarching story arc that will later become apparent. And apparently it ends on a killer cliffhanger, which kind of sucks, because I've lost count of how many shows I've enjoyed that have been cut tragically short, only to end on a big cliffhanger. Apparently it wasn't due to ratings or anything either. It actually was doing fairly well, but there was some kind of behind-the-scenes politics going on, like the studio was being sold or something like that, and ended up canceling the show, even though, ratings-wise and success-wise it was doing quite good. I mean, at the very least, it could have had a second season. And apparently Mark Dacascos himself suggested, well, can we at least have a TV movie? Can you at least give us a TV movie just to wrap up the story? Not leave it hanging. And he was turned down. So that was that. So there we go. I've heard rumors of a possible Crow reboot, and a lot of fans are saying, Mark Dacascos as the Crow in the movie, or as Eric Draven in the movie if they do a reboot. Because as far as all the other Crows that I've seen, I think Mark Dacascos actually does a really damn good job. Some people have complained that he's a little too wisecracky, because when he's in the Crow guys, he definitely does wisecrack a lot. But I mean, he wisecracks a lot in the movie, so I don't get what the problem is. It's just they obviously toned down the violence because it's a TV series, but they kept the kind of smart alecky nature of Eric Draven. I was talking to Stoudman about this, and he suggested he only watched a couple episodes of the series and wasn't all that impressed with it. And to be fair, the first couple episodes are not the strongest episodes of the series. I mean, they're basically the retelling of the origin story and just kind of setting it up with the series. Where it gets really good is later on. So you want to get past those first 2 episodes and get into the main series in order to see where it actually gets good. Where it kind of takes on its own, goes its own path. But one thing that Stout and I were talking about was the fact that with the movies, each movie is a different character. It's a different person who has been wronged in some way and brought back by a Crow to right the wrong, and just kind of working with that premise. And he said, well, why didn't they do that with the series? Rather than having it just retelling the story of Eric Draven and having him as, like, righting the wrong of the week, why didn't they have it more like an anthology thing where it would be like every episode or do like 1 or 2 parters, each one featuring a different person who has been wronged in some way. And yeah, that could have worked too. But I mean, I really had no problem with the way they did it, because I mean, let's face it, Eric Draven is the original character from the original Crow series, and I think he's the one of all of them that fans have the most affinity for. So in that respect, I think it made sense to go with Eric Draven. I mean, I was definitely happy to see the character again, and being portrayed in a way that, I find interesting. So let's take a quick peek at the packaging here. It's really nothing much to look at. Actually, just to give you a contrast, this is the Canadian packaging, and this is the US packaging. You may notice the big, ugly TV Guide logo on there. Yeah, apparently TV Guide, they did a bunch of sets, complete series sets or season sets like that a few years back, and plastered the TV Guide logo all over it. Now, happily, we did not get such ugly packaging here. There's basically 5 episodes. It's a 5-disc set. There's 5 episodes on the first 4 discs. the last 2 episodes on disc 5, and there's actually a bunch of special features. There's audio commentary on some of the episodes. I don't know how many. I don't know who's in them. It doesn't specify. There's a gag reel. They've got production dailies, so actually some raw footage from the production. Mark DeCasco's biography, and much more. Ooh, it's not just the old and more, it's and much more. Well, I don't know how much more there is because I haven't actually watched the entire set yet, but I've definitely been enjoying it. So let's take a look here. I know this isn't going to be everybody's cup of tea because, as I say, fandom seems to be pretty divided on the Crow franchise as a whole. But I like what I've seen, and I'll probably check out the 3rd and 4th movies at some point as well, because at this point I have not actually seen them. I've only seen the first 2 and the TV series. Yeah, one thing I should mention is the on-disc content is actually the same as the US set. So you'll notice on the disc menus, it actually has essentially the cover from the US DVD release on the menus, and just has the theme from the show as the music. Yeah, and that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So The Crow on Blu-ray, definitely worth picking up. I mean, if you get nothing else, get The Crow on Blu-ray. It's just fantastic. You will not be disappointed. And The Crow Stairway to Heaven complete series set, which you may or may not like. Maybe rent a few episodes or Netflix a few episodes to try it out first. But as I say, if you're going to check it out, give it a chance beyond the first 2 episodes, because the first 2 episodes are not the strongest part of the series. Alrighty, that is it from me to you for now. So until next time, thanks for watching, and sayonara. It can't rain all the time. That's really cheesy. Greetings, everyone. I already did that part. As the bus parks in my living room. Go away, bus.